Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to talk about proportion and how we can use it to our advantage. If we know that two shapes are proportional, we can use that information to find a missing side length. So, for example, these two shapes are similar. How do you know that? Because I told you. If I can find their scale factor, I can use that scale factor to multiply the corresponding side and get the missing side. So how do I find the scale factor? Well, the scale factor is obtained by answering this one question. What number multiplies each and every side on the small shape to get each and every side on the big shape? A simple question, but not always a simple answer. Because let's look at 2. Let's look at this number 2. I could multiply 2 by 3 and get 6. But I could also multiply 2 by 12 and get 24. And conversely, I could also multiply 3 by 6 or 2 by 6 to get 12. So which one of these is the actual scale factor? Tricky. Well, it really comes down to which side corresponds to 2. And by corresponding, I mean this. I mean, which side is the same side but on the other shape? And I don't mean directionally. 2 corresponds to 12 on the other shape, meaning the scale factor would be 6. The scale factor would be 6. But before we move on from that, let me break down what I mean by corresponding, because corresponding is kind of a weird word to understand. I don't mean corresponding in the sense that 2 is on the right side of the shape, so 12 is on the right side of the shape, therefore they are corresponding sides. That's not what I mean by corresponding. Corresponding means that they are the same side, just on the other shape. So let's do a thought experiment. Let's say I had this shape that looked like this instead. Let's say the shape was turned over, rotated on its side. This was the 12 on the bottom, the 24 was on the side, and the 6 was on the top. 2 would still correspond to the 12. But, Mr. Crap, they're on different parts of the shape. They are on different, I guess you say, directional parts of the shape, up, down, left, and right, but they aren't on different sides. Notice that this 12 is opposite the shortest side. And this 2 is opposite the shortest side. Not really looking at the numbers. Ignore the numbers. Ignore that there are numbers here. Just notice by size. This side is opposite the shortest side. This side is opposite the shortest side. Ignore the numbers. That means the 2 is the same side as the 12. Corresponding doesn't really matter about numbers. We're not thinking about numbers. We're thinking about the placement of the side itself. Again, it is a very intuitive thing you have to feel out. It's something that you get better at with practice of spotting those corresponding sides. But the best way that I've really come to describe it is simply that it is the same side just on the other shape. Not in the same direction, but literally the same side, proportionally the same side. Ignore the numbers, ignore the directions, look at the lengths of them with your eyes. Use your eyes. This is directly opposite the shortest. Which side is directly opposite the shortest? The 12. That means 2 corresponds to 12, which means that is the one that's going to get me the scale factor. 2 times what gets me 12? 2 times 6 gets me 12. And we can verify this. 4 times what gets me 24? 4 times 6 gets me 24. 1 times what gets me 6? 1 times 6. So it's verified. The scale factor is 6. Now we're just going to use the scale factor, multiply my known side to get my unknown side. 3 times 6 equals 18. So x equals 18. And that's what we do. There was a lot of rambling there. Let me break that down into 3 steps. 3 easy steps. Let's just take a moment to think that, oh, we've never actually done this one before. Let's start over from the beginning. What happened? We knew they were similar because Mr. Grapp told me. We found the scale factor by taking one side, finding its corresponding side, and asking ourselves, how do I get from one to the other? 2 times 6 gets me 12. So the scale factor was 6. I can verify this by trying it on other sides. 4 times 6 gets me 24. 1 times 6 gets me 6. It's verified. The scale factor is 6. Okay? Then I found the missing side and its corresponding side and used the scale factor to get me a number. 6 times 3, or 3 times 6, got me 18. And so x equaled 18. There we go. Find the scale factor. Find the corresponding side to the missing side. And multiply or divide to get your new measurement. Mr. Grapp, you said multiply or divide. We only multiplied for this one. What do you mean by divide? Well, let's take a look at the next example. Take a look at this example here. Notice that in this example, the missing side is on the smaller of the two shapes. So if I want to find the missing side, I still need to find the scale factor. But instead of going from a small side to a big side, I'm going to be going from a big side to a small side. That means the scale factor is going to be dividing. Or rather, we'll be dividing by the scale factor. We need to find the scale factor first, though. So let's find 2 corresponding sides. This 18 corresponds to this 6. 18 is a bigger side. So to find the scale factor, I'm going to ask myself, 18 divided by what gets me 6? 18 divided by 3 gets me 6. So my scale factor is 6. There we go. Or sorry, not 6. 18 divided by 3. My scale factor is 3. Brain fart there. And we can verify this. 9, if my scale factor is 3, then 9 divided by 3 should get me 3. And it does. So we can be confident about this scale factor. We found the scale factor. We found the corresponding sides. Now, since I'm going from bigger to smaller, we're going to divide by the scale factor to get my x. 27 divided by 3 is 9. So x equals 9. All right. This is a wonky concept, guys. So I'm going to have another video after this, just doing 3 practice problems. Please see me there so that you can get some practice on these, so you can feel some confidence. This really is one of those skills where maybe it kind of makes sense in theory, but it really will only click once you start practicing. So I want you to practice these with me. Once more in summation, how do we do it? How do we find the missing side lengths of similar shapes? Step 1, find the scale factor. Step 2, find which side corresponds to my missing side. Step 3, multiply or divide the corresponding side in order to find my missing length. All right, I will see you in the next video. Please don't just leave it in theory. Make it a practice.